Hello, folks. Back again. The ancient geography. Um, so this is the ancient, image of Osiris and Amontet. So she seems to be America, and he's Afro-Eurasia. And you can tell she's Amontet because of this stuff on her head. Like she's the one that wears that. A little semicircle and a feather and a bird. And so I'm not sure if she has any celestial aspects or if she's purely terrestrial. Basically, Amentet Nepheret, that's, what Egyptians called like either the whole Western Hemisphere or just America. But it's in this context, it seems that she would be America because, Osiris is, I think, is Afro-Eurasia. Like in the Book of Two Ways, he's referred to as Earth, made of earth, surrounded by water. So I think that his face is this, this is his crown, and this is his like nose, and this is his, and like basically Manchuria is his nose, and Korea is his beard, and like China is his shoulder. So yeah. And even in the books of Two Ways, it says right here that this is the face of Osiris, like in that section of the map. So yeah, it seems to me that that's, for him, of course, like his legs are this Africa. I think his elbows are either Europe and India or Europe and Southeast Asia, and maybe including India, something like that. Maybe all of this subsumed into one shoulder. But for her, it's like her legs would be South America. And so, but beyond that, it's hard to know, like, how specific is she? Like, is all this meant to be specific? And if so, like, where is her face? And so I'm still not 100% on that. Like, I think that Greenland might represent the little semicircle in her crown, but I don't know if it's also incorporated into her face or body at all. I was thinking that maybe this little tie on her headband is, the Alaska Peninsula. It would fit for that, and like her hair coming down over her shoulder would fit for Baja California. And, this hand could be either the Yucatan or Florida, and then maybe this arm, something in there. So, she's more mysterious than him in that sense. But, and then the semicircle, there is actually a semicircle that's just in the kind of the top of America, or the northern part of America, in Hudson Bay. So there's a chance that relates to her semicircle that she wears also. So, like, I was thinking maybe this is her face. Like, this doesn't, it doesn't match very well with her face. It certainly doesn't match up here with her head. But the one thing that matches here is just her lower jaw. This is like one of the only places that kind of matches for that. And you could say maybe this matches for her nose. Since maybe her nose sticks out a little more than his does, that maybe this would be that. But then I don't know how this would be accounted for. So, but anyways, there's a number of candidates for it. Let's see. Okay, I don't know. I can't find it. So I'll come back to that when I find it. So anyway, this is a Mayan codex. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, maybe Madrid, or I don't know. One of the codices. So I'm thinking this may be Alaska, basically, that this would be the Alaska Peninsula, and like this little shape at the very tip of it matches like this shape basically at the very tip of Alaska Peninsula. And you know, this would be his mouth. Maybe this would be his teeth. Either this or this would be those teeth. This would maybe be his brow ridge there. And maybe this would be this thing coming through here. And then this would be that. So, and then this tusk or something could be, maybe the tusk is Kodiak. So, you know, it's hard to be entirely sure about these things, but it's as good a chance of this as anything else, I suppose, because, but, you know, a lot of this lines up, and a lot of these codices are focused on underworld gatekeepers and stuff, just like the Egyptian funerary texts. I think the Mayan codices basically were books of the dead, just like all the Egyptian books. So yeah, that would be like the first gatekeeper of America coming from Asia. And let's see. And then the first gatekeeper of Asia coming from America would seem to be this, which is Mictlan. So it could be that, I mean, is this Tlaloc? I wouldn't have thought this Tlaloc, but it could be, because Tlaloc often does have a nose a bit like that. And, you know, they say Tlaloc reigns over the underworld, or some section of the underworld, or something called Tlalocan. Whereas there's another underworld, or another section of the underworld called Mictlan, which is governed by this guy. Well, I'm using the Aztec terminology, but they're the same in either one. It's like this one would be Tlaloc in Aztec terminology, and Cha'ak in Mayan nomenclature. If that's who this is, I'm not entirely sure if it is who that is, but the nose seems to match for both Tlaloc and Cha'ak for the most part. So it could be that Mictlan does indeed mean the underworld, but that Tlaloc, Cha'ak, and Tlalocan actually represents America, because it's common for anthropologists to confuse the world and the underworld in ancient cosmology, since they don't really understand what the underworld is in the first place. They don't understand it just means the opposite hemisphere. So yeah, it could be that these are the two kind of major terrestrial gods. Like this basically represents America as a whole for those Mesoamericans, and then this represents Afro-Eurasia as a whole for them. So this one, Mictlan, it would be that, this would be his, obviously, his his flint knife that sticks out of his nose, of course, would be Kamchatka. And like his nose, the part right here that's like his nose would have to be I would say it would have to be this. Like this one fits for the shape as well, but based on its placement, I don't think it's that. I think it's this peninsula right here is that. And then I think this area is actually where his eyes are. Maybe this part is, I'm not sure if that peninsula is really significant in this avatar or not. But I think that his eye is this big mountain right here. It's like a big snowy, I forget what they're called, the something mountains, and that's where like the tallest peak of them is. And then these lines here on the flint knife blade, whatever, seem to represent the two major mountain ranges of Kamchatka. There's like one, and then inland further, there's like another one that goes there. So that fits. And certainly the shape, even though this is smaller in proportion to his head, arguably, than it actually is, like they might have shrunk it down a little, but the shape of it is very good, like goes down and then straight out, and like that. And then on the other side, it's more like a rounded shape, And then his mouth, I'm guessing his mouth is just this bay right there, not this part. This might be like his arm or something like that, but I'm guessing this is his mouth right there. And then all this is like his hat, and this might be the little tassel or whatever. So, and then even these lines here might represent some of these major mountain ranges in Mongolia area. Mictlan. So he was the lord of the underworld for the Mesoamericans. Like basically for me, he's the underworld. But for Afro-Eurasians, he's the world. He means the world to them. Here's another rendition of Mictlan, Mictlantecuhtli or whatever. I think that as an avatar like this, he's called like Mictlantecuhtli or something like that. And then just the place in general is just called Mictlan. So in this, the flint is less specific. It's just a generic shape, but it's a little larger. And, the mouth is not open in this. But yeah, at least it shows that they do understand that the blade is fairly large compared to the face. And then there's all this stuff coming up here, which I think is all this, this would be that. And the hair would be like this part right here, I believe. Yeah, like that. That would be like the hair sticking out, I believe. And stuff like that. Yeah, I guess that's like this chin. Anyway, not every part of it, of course, is exact, but that's not the point of it. the point of it is because if people understand what it means, then not everything has to be exact, since a lot of the people would have already been familiar with it. So this is Uto Wadjet, and so I think that her face may be Denmark and northern Germany here, and which has this pointy nose kind of thing, and then like the lower jaw would be either this little peninsula or maybe also that and some of these islands. And then this arm might be Italy here, and I don't know if the Ankh or the Ankh is Sicily or not, but I think it represents life. But I think there's at least a solid chance that her bow and arrow are Scandinavia. Basically, the bow is Scandinavia, and the string of the bow is like, I don't know, this part coming across here, and then the arrow is like just this, I don't know, just this part of that, there's the line from here to here, and then this would be maybe the arrow point, or this would be, or yeah, something like that. Hard to be totally sure. But again, the fact that she's green, the fact she's always shown on top of water indicates she's probably a terrestrial deity, and the fact that the maps say that Britain was born from her indicates that she's probably Western Europe that used to include Britain before the sea level rose and the English Channel appeared. So here's her, and so in this version I'm thinking that maybe this arm is Italy, like this is her face here. So her, as in these avatars, they often, as often is the case, they like have different angles for different parts of them. So the face is tilted a certain way, basically tilted that way, and then the body is tilted the opposite way. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I think this could be Italy, and then this arm, which is, it's right in front of the other arm. It goes down, but then it like bends and goes up. So I'm thinking that this hand represents the Thrace, basically the Çatalca Peninsula that terminates in Istanbul. And, her elbow is basically Greece. And so maybe it doesn't include this Peloponnese Peninsula. And yeah, the rest of her body and her headdress and stuff is just the whole rest of this. So that would make sense. Also, the one with the bow would match there's some text where it refers to the northern ones that stretch out the bow. And I mean, that could be something celestial. I was thinking it might be something celestial, but it could be this. It could relate to Scandinavia being the bow of Wadjet. And so Tlalocan. It would make sense if America was called Tlalocan, because, well, no, never mind. I was going to say the TL sound is so ubiquitous in American languages, but then again, Mi'kmaq has the same sound, so that wouldn't be an argument. So this is another version of this, and so in this one, the blade is smaller, so it's not exact at all in this one, but you know, it seems that, you know, it'd be the blade is here, and then this is his nose, and then his eyes right here, this big mountain, and then you know, maybe this part here is like this blue part that goes over the eye, and then this part up here is the hair, and then, or who knows, you know, maybe this, I don't know if this part is part of it, and then this part up here would match with these like tassels or whatever these are up here. It could even be that this other skull, like this mini skull behind him, is this round shape right here. That, like, you know, just behind his head, there's another skull. So that could be this guy right here that's seen to be a skull facing the other way. And since this was the land of the dead, you know, for Americans, Afro-Eurasia is the land of the dead. So it makes sense that they would be rendered as skeletal. And let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else that specifically lines up there other than just that his mouth is open and that, you know, yeah. And all right, maybe there's not everything here. Definitely thought I had some other stuff on here to show, but just gonna make sure. This is the Hirakampolitan map. So Kamchatka Peninsula is this part, so that would be the Mictlan's knife nose thing. And then this is the Alaska would be over here, would be where the Tlalocan guy might be. All right, I'm just going to try to make sure I'm not missing anything here. See, I really think this is both terrestrial and celestial, that is Isis and, you know, Venus rising, and also Shumshu and Paramushir, and seemingly combined with that other nearby island like Urup in the Kuril Islands. But she also looks very much like the depictions of Venus, like Ishtar, Inanna from like Mesopotamia, like and Iran, like the Ziraft Arata culture. So that could be from the same basis, you know, Isis, Nephthys, and Ma'at. And I think I had already suspected before that Mictlan was represented, that his dagger nose was Kamchatka. But that was before I learned more about all these avatars and how universal this system was. So yeah, there's that thing that looks like the semicircle that's on Amentet's head, but I'm not sure if it's meant to be that or if the semicircle is Greenland, since Greenland is usually shown as a semicircle in the ancient maps. My guess is it's probably Greenland. Let's see. Well, it's interesting that in this section of the ancient maps of the Book of Two Ways, it refers to one gatekeeper as the Hound. So I think that's this one that, with this south as being up, it looks like a hound's face. But I'm thinking there's a chance that these guys are the underworld gatekeepers in the Mayan codices that are called the smokers, because they're smoking like cigars. So this could be that person's cigar, and then this would be this guy's cigar, and and these gods that have the cigars look a bit like this. Especially this guy looks like that. So, but I'm not sure where that is. Let's look at this at least. So this would be Isis, Nephthys, Ma'at, and their entourage in their terrestrial, form. So yeah, this is like Tsushima or something, and I forget what these are called. And this is Shumshu, Paramushir. I think this is Urup, and I'm not sure what these are. But yeah, they fit more or less. The problem is to know which one of these or both are her. Very hard to tell because it really looks like an amalgamation of both. And then I'm thinking that this one is this figure, that this one, these two islands are this little guy here. And this guy is like this island thing. But yeah, hard to be totally sure about these. And then this, I'm thinking that this little orange part that she's holding is this island. Forget which one that is. Maybe Shiashkotan or something. And this is a different version, basically, where I just flipped this one, because this one I wasn't really sure. So, there's a chance maybe it's the other way. This guy, it's hard to know what this guy is. But that seems to be the best match for as far as islands go in the region. And then I think the sun is in here, so they're kind of helping raise the sun. I'm not sure which island is the sun, if it's Jeju or another one. Okay, so these are the smoking gods. So, like this one, I feel like he matches more or less for that. He's faced the other way, but these maps are often retrograde, so, at least his nose, matches more or less that nose, and him having his big cigar in his mouth matches. So, hard to know, it could be quite stylized. I'm not seeing really anything matching this part, though, so who knows. That's, and then the other one maybe matches for this figure better. And, maybe this thing on their head is like this part peninsula here. And stuff like that. So, hard to be sure. But yeah, like that certainly could be their cigar. It's the best match I've found. These are supposed to be gatekeepers of the Mayan underworld, which is Afro-Eurasia. You know, let's see, this is a possible possibility. I think my phone's about to cut me off, but in this one, it's showing him holding these captives, and it seems that it kind of matches in the Egyptian map. It refers to a man who's captive in Siberia.